Happy Monday, everyone. Happy sunny Monday. I loved that. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Lori. Glad you're here with us. Shanti's a little bit annoyed about class. She was like, all right, it's almost the end of the workday. Should mean a walk. I'm so sorry. And then I said the word too. And then I came down here and started sitting for class, and she was like, wait a second. But sunshine. So thanks for being patient, Shanti. So glad you're here with us this evening. I'm Mikki, if you've not practiced with me before. And oh, hi, Travis. Yay. It's good to have you here. This is Shanti, Musketeers lounging in the corner. He might stroll through class every so often. And I'm just really glad to have you here. As always with these classes, please take what you need, leave what you don't, and just give yourself that perfect blend this evening of challenge, of strength, and of letting go, of ease, of releasing whatever you need to release. And I think that's a really kind of lovely way to approach our practice, right? What is the challenge that you need? What is the unchallenge that you need, the undoing that you need? And to just let that combine to bring you back to balance. All right, we're going to get started on our backs this evening. So when you're ready, I put the playlist in the chat. You can just push play on that, and you can come on down to your back. As we come to our backs, we're going to bend the knees, place the feet on the ground, let the feet go wide, and let the knees fall in on each other. So it's that constructive rest pose leg. And then instead of the arms crossing the chest like we normally do in constructive rest pose, this evening as we settle in, I want you to take your arms up overhead. I'm not on a walk right now, stare down. Take your arms up overhead and grab opposite elbows, forearms, wrists, or maybe for some of you, just the tips of the fingers. Some grab of opposite arm there that allows the shoulders, maybe the elbows to be heavy on the ground. If that is not possible for you, then just let the arms get as close as they can to touching while still allowing the shoulders and the elbows to be grounded. Let the eyes close if that's comfortable, and let's begin to breathe in and out really fully into the body here. And specifically with the arms up overhead, feeling the side to side movement of your breath. As you inhale, feel the sides of your ribs expand right below the armpits. And as you exhale, feel that contracting of ribs. And invite the shoulders and the arms to get a little heavier into the ground. Sometimes challenge has a purpose. Sometimes struggle has a purpose. Sometimes ease and release has a purpose. And what do you need tonight? What is that kind of perfect blend or perfect recipe of challenge and release, strength and ease that meets you where you're at tonight? If you have an obvious arm on top and how those arms are crossed, let's recross with the other arm on top. And then settle right back in to your breath. Let's take maybe 3 or 4 more breaths here. Perhaps weaving into your breath a focus or an intention for your practice tonight. And then we're going to slide those arms apart and just let the elbows come down in line with your shoulders. You've got that kind of goalpost shape in the arms. Start to wiggle the feet and the knees to about hip width. And then we're going to float your knees up over your hips. Let the feet flex like there's a wall right there that you're pushing the feet into. And you might even just imagine that for a moment. Imagine that you have something to push the feet into. As you do that, let your belly button draw toward the ground. And then I want you to actually hug the knees, hug the legs together. We're going to root into both of your shoulders and begin to take your knees maybe 2 or 3 or 4 inches to the right. You're not going to go all the way down because then you're going to come back to center and exhale, knees 2 or 3 or 4 inches to the left. And come back to center. We're going to keep that movement really small to start. So the exhale will take the knees to the right, just enough that you feel the work necessary to keep that left shoulder grounded. And then inhale back to center. And knees to the left, exhale. Root into that right shoulder. Back to center. And that might be just the right amount of interesting for you tonight. That moment where you're like, ooh, if I go any further, my shoulder's going to lift. That might be challenge enough. And you can just stay here with this sort of 3 or 4 inches of movement back to center. As you maybe feel inspired to challenge it a bit more, you might invite the knees to start to lower a couple more inches closer to the ground. And then bring the knees back up with your inhale. And try to match that depth as you go to the other side. Now the work here, the challenge is in not letting the opposite shoulder lift. So as the knees go to the right, we're doing our best to keep left shoulder really broad, left shoulder and elbow grounded. Steady lift back to center. And then same thing to the other side. Now some of you will get to the point where the left outer thigh and knee maybe touch the ground before you come back up. Some of you will get nowhere near that tonight because that's not what you came looking for, you need. If you're feeling fiery after your day and you need the challenge, take it. If you don't, just let it be. We're going to take 2 more to each side, leaving yourself balanced. So an equal number left to right. So if you were with me as we got started, the next time you lift the legs up from the left will be your last one. And as you bring the knees to center, you can reach down, grab onto your shins or your thighs. And let's start to rock and roll up and down your spine to make your way up and over into your table pose. Wrists below shoulders, knees below hips. Hello, musketeer. Table pose. Let's take a couple rounds through cat and cow in honor of musketeer lounging here in the foreground. Inhale, belly down, heart lifts. Exhale, spine rounds, head falls. A couple times back and forth there. Now let's inhale into cow one more time, belly down, heart moving forward. We're going to mix it up a little bit, get a little 3-dimensional with our cat-cow this evening. So keep the cow shape, take your hips to the right, then start to round into cat, hips to the left, drop the belly, come into cow. So it's a big kind of barrel roll. So cow moves the hips to the right, come into cat, move the hips to the left, belly down. And you can keep it really compartmentalized like that, or you can just start to roll through it, getting into some of those lateral tissues and muscle fibers that we tend to ignore when we move fairly just front to back. And then try not to think about it too much. We're going to reverse. So your cow will take hips to the left. Cat will take hips to the right. Cow, hips left. Cat, hips right. One of the perks of virtual at-home practices is you can try these things without anyone seeing you or judging you. It's just me moving my hips around on camera. You're welcome. One more big circle here. And then we'll end up back in your table pose. Let's tuck your toes under. Take your hips to the sky for downward facing dog. As you find your down dog, let your heels lengthen toward the floor. They might or might not touch. Let your head fall between your arms. Let's put a little tiny bend in both of your knees, just enough that you can take your down doggy tail a little higher toward the sky. And then try to keep that down doggy lift as you re-straighten your legs and descend the heels. And then go ahead and take your chin, tuck it all the way into your chest. And then just let the head fall with gravity. We're going to roll up to the tips of your toes and start to walk your feet slowly forward to the front of the mat. When you get there, go ahead and bend your knees. Let yourself just drape and fold over your thighs. Let's grab opposite elbows just like you did on your back. Again, if it needs to be forearms, wrists, or fingertips, do that. Let the elbows lengthen toward the ground. Let the head hang and be heavy. And just invite and feel gravity taking everything. Your arms, your spine, your head, even the skin of your face. And then bend your knees. And let's roll up. Inch by inch by inch. All the way to standing. We'll take your two hands up to the sky. Root down into your feet as you reach up through the fingertips. Almost like your body is being stretched out in two directions. And then press the palms together overhead and exhale, hands down into your heart. Staying for your breath in here. Staying for your breath out. Hands to the sky as you inhale. Exhale, let's fold. Fingers on shins. We'll lift up halfway as you inhale. Never feel like you need to rush or slow it down for me. Exhale, bow forward. Root into your feet. Let's rise up, reach up. Palms pressed together overhead and exhale, hands down into your heart. Inhale, let's reach. Exhale, let's fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, let's fold and step your left leg back. We're going to keep the back heel off the ground, the knee facing downward. So try not to let the knee turn out at all. We're going to come up into your crescent lunge. And just like we did upside down, just like we did on our back, we're going to bend your elbows and grab opposite elbows, forearms, wrists, whatever is doable for you. Let your pelvis, your hips sink down as you lunge into that front leg. Lengthen up through the elbow tips. And just feel that fullness, that lateral side to side space of your breath. Now we're going to put a little bend into your back knee as you exhale. Inhale, straighten the leg. Let's do that 2 more times. So as you exhale and the knee drops below your hip, can you feel that line from left knee up through left elbow And then straighten. One more time. Release your hands up to the sky. Bring your hands down around your front foot. And let's step back, downward facing dog. Invitation to stay here for a couple breaths. Or inhale, come forward, plank. Let's take the knees to the ground for at least this first round. Elbows point straight back as you lower. Inhale to the belly, untuck the toes, little tiny cobra, minimal weight in your hands. Feel the shoulders gliding down the back. And then let the forehead come on back down to the ground. Press up through table. And back you go, downward facing dog. Now, as you find your down dog here, let's take your feet a little wider than hip width. Come up onto the balls of the feet, and we're going to drop your two heels toward the right, spinning your toes toward the left. And just push your hips back into down dog. Back to center. Heels to the left, toes to the right. Back to center. And left leg lifts. Use your exhale, step the foot forward between your hands. Back heel off the ground, back knee pointed down. We'll come up, crescent lunge. As you come up, see if you can remember which arm was in front as you bend the elbows, and try to get the other arm in front. It should feel a little awkward. And then let the pelvis sink down as you lunge into that front leg. Elbow tips lengthen up. Feel the fullness of your breath in the sides of your ribs. And then we'll exhale, bend the back knee. Inhale, straighten the back leg. We'll do that 2 more times. And I just want you to feel that line from right knee up through right elbow tip. And then straighten. One more time, bend. And straighten. Release your hands to the sky. Hands down around your front foot. And let's step forward, feet together, top of the mat. We'll come into your halfway lift. Bow forward with your exhale. Rise up, reach up, inhale. And exhale, hands to heart. Just like you did last time, let's pause, savoring the moment as you take your breath in. Savor the moment as you take your breath out. Inhale, let's reach. And exhale, fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, bow forward. We'll take your right leg, step it back. This time we're going to put your back heel on, press your back heel down into the ground. Put it on the floor. Right toes angle out. I don't know why that was so hard for my brain. Warrior 1, come on up. Too many hours staring at a computer today. Lunge into the front knee. Feel the back heel pushing down and away from you. And then let's start to take your gaze up toward the sky. Feel your breath right underneath the armpits. Kind of think of it like the Hulk. Like you just have this huge, broad upper back that you're breathing into. And then from deep in that upper back, let's begin to press the hands together, palm to palm, to touch. If it's too much for your shoulders, keep the hands shoulder width. And then exhale, hands around your front foot. And we'll step back, downward facing dog. From the down dog, you can stay here, right here, or inhale, plank. Knees up or down, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Maybe keep it low this evening. Maybe you're like, I need to go for it. I need the challenge. Maybe that's you. If that's you, come up higher. Back to the belly. Up through table or plank. And back you go, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts when you're ready. And step forward between your hands on your next exhale. Let the back heel come to the mat, spin those toes out, and we'll come on up into warrior one. So hands start shoulder width. Settle down into a degree of bend in your lunge that feels like just the right amount of challenge for you. Then if your neck's okay with it, let's start to turn your gaze up toward the fingertips. Feel that side to side breath, just like when you were grabbing your elbows. And then from deep in your upper back, begin to press the hands together. If it's too much, it's too much. If it feels powerful and strong, that is the kind of pinnacle of the warrior one pose. And then hands come on down around your front foot. We'll step that left foot forward next to the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Rise up, reach up, inhale. And exhale, hands to heart. Now let's start to bend your knees. We're going to sit back into your chair. Take your right hand to your right hip. Left hand's going to come across outside the right leg. Start to spin your heart open toward the right. You might stay here. You might begin to slide your left arm further down the leg. You can keep the right hand on the hip, or if it feels nice, you can take your right hand up toward the sky. And then just take a look at your knees. Make sure that left knee hasn't started to jut way forward. Try to keep the knees even. Maybe if it feels interesting, start to turn your gaze to look up toward the right hand. Musketeer's like, if you're not going to pet me, I'll come to you. And then come back into your chair. Just slowly untwist. Let your legs straighten for a moment. Take your hands up to the sky. Let's bend your elbows out to a goalpost shape. Let the heart lift. Little tiny standing back bend here. And then reach up toward the ceiling. And we'll sit back into your chair pose once again. Left hand, left hip. Right hand across. Knees attempt to stay even, and that's because the pelvis is doing that work, right? The thighs and the hips. You're not letting things really swing. Heart rolling forward, or rolling to the left. This might be the pose for you. You might start to slide that right arm further down. You might take your left hand up toward the sky. Gaze can be down, sideways, or up. And then nice and slow, nice and steady, untwist. Stand up, reach your hands toward the sky. Once again, bend those elbows, let the heart lift. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold. Let's lift up halfway, fingers on shins. And then exhale, let's step your left leg back as you fold. And we're going to come on up into your crescent lunge. And then open up as you drop your back heel, warrior two. Take a moment to make sure the middle of your front knee is pointed right at the middle of your front foot. The back toes get to be angled in just a bit, so don't feel like they need to be parallel to the back of the mat. And then let's take your right elbow to your right thigh. Left hand straight up toward the sky. Turn your left palm to face behind you. We're going to bend your left elbow, bring that hand into the small of the back. Some of you will wrap the hand and grab your right thigh. You can look down, sideways, or up. And let's just minimize how much weight is in that right elbow. When you're ready, we'll take your left hand, reach it back up to the sky. Come up through your warrior two, left hand down the back leg, right hand up and back into your reverse. Let's bend your right elbow, bring your hand to the base of the skull, and lengthen up and back through your right elbow tip. As you exhale, we'll take your two hands down around your front foot. We'll step back, downward facing dog. Invitation to stay or inhale, come forward to plank. Knees up or down, chaturanga. Baby cobra or high cobra, or the back bend that you enjoy. Back to the belly. Up through table or plank. And back you go, downward facing dog. As you're ready, we'll take your right leg, lift it to the sky. And then step your right foot forward between your hands. We'll come up to your crescent lunge. Take a moment to get into your feet. And then we're going to step into your right leg and bring your left knee up into your chest. Right hand is going to come outside your left knee. Hold on. Left hand will drop down and reach back. Standing lifted knee with a twist. Those of you that like to grab the pinky edge of the foot and play with straightening that lifted leg, you can. Just because you grab the foot does not mean that you need to straighten the leg. It could stay bent. If you're feeling like you need to soften the practice this evening to give yourself more relief and release than challenge, just keep holding the knee, back off a bit. And then let's take that left arm down into your left knee. We're going to pull that left leg out to the side for tree pose, foot on thigh, calf, or ankle. And then let's take your thumbs, latch them together in front of you, and begin to take your hands up toward the sky. Final 2 breaths here. If you step out, just take a breath and come back in. Let's turn the left knee forward, place the foot on the ground. Take your hands down by your sides. Pull the hands back behind you. Clasp the fingers together, knuckles toward the ground, heart toward the sky, broad shoulders. Just another opportunity for a standing back bend with a slightly different orientation of your arms. And then with your next exhale, stack your spine. Release the hands back up toward the ceiling. And exhale, let's fold. Halfway lift as you breathe in. As you fold, we'll exhale and step your right leg back. Coming up, crescent lunge. Grounding your back heel, opening up, warrior two. Front knee pointed right toward the middle of your front foot. Back heel efforting down and back. We'll bring your left elbow to your left thigh, right hand to the sky. Turn your palm to face behind you, bend the elbow, bring the hand to the small of the back or down into that left thigh crease. Minimize the weight in the left elbow, and you can look down, sideways, or maybe up and back. Let's start to release your right hand back up toward the ceiling. Use that to lift you up and back into your reverse warrior. Bend your left elbow, let the hand find its way to the bottom of the skull. Lengthen up through the left elbow tip. And then hands come down around your left foot. Come onto the ball of the back foot, and back you go. Downward facing dog. Maybe you stay, maybe you keep moving with the breath. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra of your height. Back to belly, exhale. Table or plank, inhale. And downward facing dog. Left leg lifts with a breath in. And step forward with your breath out. We come up to your crescent lunge. Start to feel that connection of your left foot to the ground. When you're ready, we'll step into that left foot. Right knee comes up into the chest. And we'll reach across with your left hand to support just outside the right knee. Let the right hand go down and then back. Anytime you need to step out and collect yourself, just do it. Come back in. This might be the pose for you this evening. You might reach down, grab the outer edge of the right foot. Maybe that right leg straightens a little bit or a lot bit. Maybe you ignore that completely. Right hand down. And as it comes forward, let it grab the right knee. Take that right leg out into your tree pose. Right foot on thigh, calf, or ankle. Hands will go forward, latch your thumbs. And take your hands up toward the sky. Slowly let the right knee turn forward. Let the foot come to the ground. Release the thumbs. A little bit of a bigger reach up toward the ceiling. Keeping the feet nice and rooted and planted. Let's start to reach your hands up so much they begin to go back. Taking a little slightly different bend, standing back bend here. If this is too much, you could just bring your elbows back into that goalpost shape. And then with your next exhale, stack the body, stand up tall. And let's fold right over your legs. Give a nice bend to your knees here. Let the low back find its way forward. Let the belly find your thighs. And let's grab opposite elbows once again. Let the arms hang. Let the head hang. And then release your hands down around your feet. We're going to make our way back to downward facing dog any way that works for you. I'm going to turn around so you can see this next thing. So you might roll through that plank chaturanga back bend. You might just step back to down dog and find a couple breaths of stillness. When you're ready, we'll take your right leg, lift it up and back, and step your right foot forward between your hands. Come on up, crescent lunge. Ground your back heel, open up, warrior two. So this is going to start the same way. We'll take your right elbow to your right thigh, left hand to the sky. We're going to turn that left palm to face behind you, bend the elbow, and bring the hand down. Instead of grabbing the hip, though, or just placing the hand in the small of the back, I want you to fist your left hand and just let that fist, if it comes down below the small of the back, just let it press into that outer right butt. So that might be where you stop this evening. Some of you might take your right hand down to the ground. I'm going to give one more option. Remember, it's not about doing all the things this evening. It's how much challenge do you need to meet yourself where you're at, and what challenge is too much challenge tonight. So this might be where you stay. Some of you are going to take your right arm, reach it under your right leg, fist the hand, and I don't even care if the hands ever touch. See if you can just wrap that fist and touch it to the outer thigh or the outer butt. Okay, just two fists hanging out. Power up that back leg a little bit more to propel you forward through the top of your head. This is the beginning of binding these poses. And then just let it go. Right hand down, left hand up. Straighten your front leg. Triangle pose. Bend the front knee. Come on up. Let's reverse. And hands down around your front foot. You know the drill at this point. Down dog or a vinyasa. Stay with your breath. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale your left foot to the sky. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Come up, crescent lunge. Open up, warrior two. Left elbow, left thigh, right hand to the sky. Start to turn the arm as you fist the hand. Bend your elbow and just let that fist come wherever it comes. You can stay here. This might be the shape. Or left hand toward the ground. The hand can just stay reaching the floor. Or you could start to reach your left hand under, fist the hand, and just try to touch your outer left butt. Roll that right side of your chest open. And then lengthen by pushing down into your back heel to grow forward through the crown. And then let it go. Left hand down, right hand up. Let the front leg straighten any amount. Bend your front knee. Come up. Warrior two, right into that reverse. And then this time we're going to come into your warrior two, arms parallel to the ground. And we are going to pivot that front foot to make your feet parallel. I'm going to spin one more time because you don't need to see my backside as I fold over. Feet parallel. Let's go. Hands on hips. Elbows hug back into that little elbow master, thigh master situation. Tall spine, tall heart. Let's begin to fold forward here. Some of you might find it interesting to keep your hands on your hips, to gently lengthen that hip crease toward the ceiling. Keep hugging elbows back. Some of you will be like, no, I'm good. You can just let your hands come to the ground. Or, shocker, you can grab opposite elbows and let those arms hang. Some of you might get elbows on the ground in that shape. If that happens, lengthen out through your elbow tips. If it doesn't happen, it does not make you any less of a yogi or a human. It just is. So many factors determine if you can touch your toes or if your elbows get to the ground here. Try not to make it a goal, just explore. Last couple breaths here. Begin to unwind your arms. If you have them in a shape, push the ground away. Let's bend your, whatever your back knee is. I flipped around, so I think it's going to be your right knee. Walk your hands toward that bent knee. And then let's do that same thing to the front leg. Return to the back leg. One more time to your front leg. And then come back to center. Hands on hips. As you push the ground away, strong legs will come on up. You can hop to center, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Come back to the top of the mat. Feet under hips. Hands by your side. I want you to take one more standing back bend this evening. We've done a couple different hand options. So with a clasp, goalpost arms, or reaching up and back. Try to find one where the back feels long, the legs feel strong, the breath is easy. And then stack yourself back upright. Bend your knees. Like you're going to come into chair, but you're not. We're just going to bring the belly down to your thighs. Let the hands dangle off the front of the legs. Allow your torso to be held on your thighs as the head releases. Let the hands find the ground, and we'll step back one foot and then the other into your plank. Musketeers on my phone. I can't see what time it is. Let's bring your knees down to the floor. We're going to replace your right hand with your right elbow. I'm just moving back so I have space. Left elbow replaces left hand. You come down onto forearms. Let your hips come on down to the ground. Point your toes back. And you're in Sphinx pose. Let the pelvis get heavy. Let those thighs get heavy. And then ever so gently, I want you to press the elbows down into the floor and feel like you're trying to scoot them back in space. As you try to scoot them back in space, can you also try to scoot them forward? Super indecisive elbows. Can't decide if they want to go forward or backward. Let the outer edges of your shoulders creep backwards. As you lengthen through the back of the neck, up through the crown of the head. And then elbows out. Spin your hands in. Bring your forehead down to the back of your hands. I'm being attacked. Just feel your belly filling into the ground as you inhale. The belly filling into the back as you exhale. So if your back is feeling tender today, I invite you to stay with Sphinx pose, which was the back bend we just did. If you're feeling like a little challenge is interesting this evening, you're going to take your forehead to the floor, reach your hands back behind you. You can keep the hands shoulder width, or you can take the hands into that clasp that we did in your standing back bend at one point. And then with the head down, let's just start to activate your upper back to lift your shoulders away from the floor. If that is all you do with the back bends tonight, that's what most of us need. It's the counter to the computer cell phone posture. Maybe you stay here. Maybe as you inhale, you start to lift the hands back, the heart up, the head up, and then exhale, just lower right back down. We're going to lift and lower there a couple times. You can stay with just the head and shoulders, or you can start to add the feet as well. And lower down. How about 3 more rounds? Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. One more. And lower. Create that little pillow for your forehead once again on the back of your hands. Inhaling the belly down into the ground. Exhaling the belly filling the back. Now we're going to take our left arm out into that goal post shape. So it's really important that palm is down, elbow is in line with your shoulder, right? So it's not down here, it's not up here, a box, palm down. You're going to take your right cheek to the floor. Your right hand is going to pop into a little tent over to the right. We're just going to roll yourself onto the left edge of your body. Deep breaths into the left shoulder, the left chest. And then ease yourself back onto your forehead. Let that right arm come out into that goalpost shape. Again, the box, elbow in line with shoulder, palm facing down. Come onto your right cheek. Pop onto your left fingertips. And roll. To the right side of the body, just let the legs stack. Let your head be down if it can. Steady breaths into the right chest. All of the tissues and muscle fibers around the right shoulder and the upper back. Two more breaths. And we'll roll to the belly, forehead to the ground. Both arms into that goalpost shape. And then let's slide your hands back beside your rib cage. Easy, easy press up hands and knees. Let your knees go wide. Let the big toes come together And let's press your hips all the way back to your heels. The hips probably won't touch the heels for most of us, but that's the direction they're heading. And let's take your child's pose here. If it's comfortable, forehead on the ground, and let's tuck yourself in. Wrap your arms back around your legs. Let the shoulders fall. And then walk your hands back under your shoulders. Let's press up away from the ground. Hello. Spin the legs around. We'll come to seated with the legs out in front of you. So legs out straight, toes toward the sky, heels pressing forward. Let's bend your right knee. We're going to bring your right foot to the inner thigh or the calf. And we'll take a little rotation toward your left leg. You are incredibly invited and welcome to stay here. This is just a nice, sort of softer version of this, especially if your low back is feeling a little tender today. There's no need to fold forward if the back is already a little grumpy. You can stay here and work on providing the core support to hold your low back, to give it a little bit of support in its tender day. If you would like to start to fold forward, just take your hands, start to walk them out along your left leg. Feeling the two sides of your waist, the two sides of your hips lengthening back. Lots of space for the low back and the outer hips being created here. And then let's ease your hands in. Take your hand to the outer right knee, bring that right leg back up and out to straight. And same thing, second side. Left knee bends. Foot to thigh or calf. Little rotation towards your right leg. At least starting up tall. You might choose to stay here. You might spend just a couple moments here. And then let's start, if it makes sense in your body tonight, to lengthen out long. With your next inhale, we'll ease back up and in. Let's keep your left leg where it's at. Let's bring your right leg into bent as well. Soles of the feet together, knees open, holding on to ankles, shins, or feet. And let's sit up nice and tall. With the hands holding on to the legs in some fashion, let's move your shoulders back in space. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Feel the fullness of your breath and the sides of your lungs, the sides of your ribs. And then slide your hands underneath the knees. Help press the knees back together. And let's come on down to your back. As you come down onto your back, bring your knees into your chest. And then let's take that same exact shape you were just doing seated, but here on your back. So soles of the feet together, knees open. You can hold outer edges of feet, ankles, or shins. Let the knees lengthen away from you. Let the low back settle into the ground. And then bring the legs back to center. Let the left foot come on down to the ground. Give a firm hug of that right knee into your chest. Feel that compression in a gentle way, not vigorous compression, but there is just a sense of that hugging in at the front of the thigh there. And then let your right leg, right foot release down. We'll do that same thing on the left side. And then let the left leg release all the way out to straight. Do that same thing with the right leg, all the way out to straight. Let's take your hands to the sky over your shoulders. We're going to fist your hands and then roll those fists around. A couple circles in one direction, couple circles the other direction. And then open your hands out of the fist, turn the palms so that they're facing your head, and lower the back of the hands down into the floor. Inviting yourself into a few moments here of stillness and release. A few moments to absorb all that you've planted into your body, your breath, your mind this evening. Let's gently begin to deepen the breath. And when you're ready, slide those arms up overhead and just elongate out through the two toe tips, up through the fingertips. And then we'll bend the knees when you're ready. Let the feet find the ground. And we'll roll over to a side nice and gently, nice and easily. Ease yourself up away from the floor. Finding your comfortable seat, let's bring your hands together in front of your heart. Feeling gratitude for this time you took for yourself this evening and the ripple effect of good that your practice can have for you and for everyone in your life. Thank you all so much for practicing together this evening. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Howard, if you're still here. Thank you, Lori and Debbie. Thank you, Travis. It's so good to have you guys tonight. Thank you, Megan. If you have any questions on anything, feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks, Mighty Joe. We are slimming down the live stream schedule for spring and summer as we get busy. Thank you so much, Debbie. So this week and next week is the same Monday, Wednesday, Saturday schedule. And then starting May, the first week of May, we will go down to just Monday nights. So this Monday night class at 6 p.m. will stay. You'll have this for the week to practice with when it works for you. So either live or as a recording, because our schedule is going to start to pick up, especially on weekends this summer. So a couple more weeks of full schedule and then down to just this one in May. Our PayPal is currently not working. So if you would like to contribute for class, please use Venmo or wait about a week. And I hope to see you all soon. I hope you have a really lovely evening. Mwah. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for all of your help, Musketeer. Bye, everyone.